"Shut up, Cowboy, you're freezing. You're sleeping between us tonight," the two Apache sisters said. Eli Mercer had learned two important rules about working on an ice moon. First, never trust calm weather. On a world like this, calm only meant the wind was resting before it tried again. Second, never pretend the cold was not real. The cold did not care about pride, rank, or jokes. It only cared about time. He still broke the second rule more often than he should. The outpost sat inside a shallow valley of blue-white ice, surrounded by ridges that looked like frozen waves. Above, the sky was a hard black glass with thin lines of pale color, like someone had brushed paint across it. Two suns hung low on the horizon, far away and small, giving almost no warmth. Their light made the ice sparkle, but it did not make it kind. Eli's suit display blinked a warning again. Core temp, low. He sighed inside his helmet. Yeah, I heard you the first 10 times. His voice sounded too loud in the helmet like it had nowhere to go. Outside, the wind made a soft, steady sound against his visor, like sand being poured slowly into a bowl. He looked back at the atmospheric beacon he had just fixed. It stood on a metal frame, half buried in ice with cables tied down into the ground so the wind would not rip them away. A small light on its side now pulsed in a clean rhythm. Green, green, green. It was working. That should have felt like victory. Instead, he mostly felt tired. He checked his wrist unit again and read the distance to camp. Not far, he could make it. He always could. Eli turned and started walking. His boots crunched over ice crystals. Each step was heavy, not because the ground was deep, but because the cold made his joints feel like they had thick grease inside them. Over his shoulder, the beacon's green light blinked in the corner of his vision. It felt like a watchful eye. The outpost was a research camp built by the Kesh and their allied partners, placed here because this moon sat in a strange spot between two gravity flows. It was the kind of place scientists loved. It was also the kind of place normal people tried to avoid. Eli was not a scientist. He was a scout and a technician. He had been hired because humans were good at going places that were uncomfortable and fixing things that should not be fixable anymore. He did not like that about his species. He also loved it. His comms clicked. "Mercer," said a voice deep and calm. It was Shira. Eli smiled without meaning to. "If you're calling to tell me dinner is ready, I am sprinting home." "You do not sprint in that wind," Shira replied. Her basic English always sounded careful, like she built each sentence with her hands. "You return, now." "Already on my way," Eli said. "Beacons singing, we're good." There was a brief pause, and then another voice joined, sharper in tone, like ice snapping. "Cowboy." That was Tala. Eli's smile widened. "Hey, Tala." "You are late," Tala said, "and you are walking slow." "Because I'm admiring the view," Eli said. "It's beautiful out here, like a postcard that wants to kill you." Shira made a small sound that might have been her version of a laugh. Tala did not. "Stop talking," Tala said. "Keep breathing." Eli frowned. "I am breathing." "You are making words," Tala said. "That takes heat." Eli almost said something clever back, but he swallowed it. The cold did make talking feel expensive. His throat felt dry, his lips felt stiff. "Okay," he said, quieter. "I'm coming." The comms went silent, but he could still feel them listening. The sisters had a way of being present even when they were not speaking. The Apache sisters were not actually called Apache. That was a human name, given by accident and then kept because it fit. Their species name was hard for a human mouth to say, too many sounds like crackling ice. Eli had called them the Apache sisters once, joking about how they moved like hunters and watched like warriors, and somehow it stuck. They were not blood sisters either, at least not in the human sense. They were pair-bonded by their culture, raised together from young age, trained together, and assigned together. Their people treated a bonded pair as one unit for many duties. Tala and Shira did not mind the human word. They liked the idea of being sisters. It sounded warm. Which was funny because they liked cold. Their bodies were built for it. Their skin shimmered like dark crystal with lines of light under it, like rivers of slow fire trapped inside stone. Those lines were not just pretty. They were part of how they handled energy and temperature. They could stand outside in this wind without a suit and look relaxed. Eli, on the other hand, looked like a wrapped-up bundle of human stubbornness and bad planning. A gust of wind hit him sideways. He caught himself, boots scraping. The horizon tilted for a moment, then leveled out again. His suit display flashed again. Core temp low, heat loss rising. He felt it now creeping into his chest. The cold did not punch, it stole. Eli tightened his grip on the repair kit slung at his side, though he did not need to. It was a small trick. If he held something, he felt more in control. He kept walking. The valley narrowed, and the camp came into view between two ice ridges. The outpost lights were small and yellow, like candles in a frozen cave. The main shelter was a long, low structure with thick walls, set behind windbreak panels. A communications tower rose nearby, and smaller pods sat around it like shells. As he got closer, he saw movement near the entrance. Two tall figures stood outside the main shelter without suits. They looked like statues made of midnight glass, Tala and Shira. Even from far away, Eli could tell which was which. Shira stood with her arms relaxed, feet planted evenly, head tilted slightly as if she listened to the wind itself. Tala stood with her weight forward, shoulders squared, arms crossed like she dared the storm to try harder. They both turned their heads together when Eli came within 30 meters. Tala started walking toward him at once. Shira followed, slower. Eli tried to speed up, not because he wanted to impress them, but because he wanted the moment to be over. The moment where someone looked at him and could see clearly that he was losing a quiet fight. When Tala reached him, she did not greet him. She did not ask if he was okay. She did not accept his usual jokes. She placed her hand on the side of his helmet and held it still, forcing him to look at her. Her fingers were bare. Eli expected them to feel cold through the suit. Instead, the contact warmed the helmet slightly, like touching a sun-warmed stone. "Your eyes are slow," Tala said. "My eyes are fine," Eli tried. Shira stepped close and leaned in, studying his suit readouts from the external display plate. Her glowing lines pulsed gently as she read. "Core temperature is low." Eli lifted his hands in surrender. Okay. "I got a little chilled, but the beacon's fixed." Tala's hand slid from his helmet to his shoulder. She squeezed once, not hard, but firm. It felt like a command. "You will enter shelter," she said. "I was going to," Eli said. "You will enter now," Shira added. Eli took a breath. It came out shallow. He did not like how his lungs felt, like they were working through a filter. "Right," he said. "Lead the way." Tala turned him with a gentle push and marched him toward the entrance. Shira walked on his other side. Eli felt like a prisoner being escorted by two very patient guards. At the shelter door, Tala slapped the panel. The seal hissed and the inner door opened. Warm air rolled out like a wave. Eli stepped inside and almost sagged with relief. The air smelled like metal, fabric, and the faint spice-like scent of Kesh heating gel. It was not home, but it was not death either. He started to reach for his helmet latch. Tala's hand shot out and stopped him. "Not yet." "What?" Eli blinked. "I'm inside." Shira pointed toward a small station near the door. "Decon mist, clean your suit, the ice dust carries chemicals." Eli grumbled but obeyed, stepping into the mist frame. Fine spray coated his suit and then warm air dried it. A light turned green. Tala finally nodded. "Now." Eli pulled his helmet off. Cold air trapped inside the suit rushed out. The shelter air felt thick and heavy on his face. His cheeks prickled as warmth returned. He took a deeper breath and his lungs complained. He coughed once. Shira watched him closely. "You are not fine." Eli rubbed his face, trying to get feeling back. "I'm fine-ish." Tala's eyes narrowed. "That is not a word." "It is now," Eli said, then tried to grin. The grin felt crooked. For a second, neither sister spoke. They just watched him the way a doctor watches a patient who is lying badly. Eli lifted his repair kit with a small, proud motion. "Beacon's stable. I recalibrated the antenna and replaced the cracked coupling. It should hold against the next wind spike." Shira reached out and took the kit from his hand without asking. It was not rude, it was practical. "Good." Tala leaned closer, her voice dropped. "You could have called." "I did call," Eli said. "I reported the problem, then I fixed it." "You could have called for help," Tala said. Eli shrugged. "It wasn't a big job." "It was far," Shira said. "It was cold," Tala added like a sharp nail. Eli opened his mouth to argue, then stopped. He knew he was losing. They had facts. He had pride. He tried another path. "Look, it's not like I was going to die. I've been colder." Tala's eyes flashed. "That is the problem. You say that like it is good." Eli blinked. He did not have a quick answer for that. Humans said things like that all the time. "I've been worse. I've been colder. I've been hungrier." It was a badge, a joke, a way to keep fear from sitting too close. Shira stepped past him and pointed down the hall. "Come." Eli hesitated. "Where?" Shira looked back with patient seriousness. "Thermal shelter." Eli's stomach dropped a little. I'm already in the shelter. Tala's mouth curved slightly, not quite a smile, more like a decision. Not this shelter. Before Eli could ask more, they guided him forward. Down the hall, past the small lab room where Kesh scientists worked on ice samples, past the storage alcove stacked with sealed crates, and toward the private thermal unit assigned to the sisters. Most of the crew respected their space. The sisters were friendly, but they had a strong presence. Also, the thermal unit was kept warmer than the rest of the outpost because their people needed controlled temperature swings for rest cycles. Eli had been inside once before, briefly, to help fix a vent. It had smelled like mineral stone and clean fabric. The walls had a soft glow like moonlight trapped behind glass. Tala tapped the door panel. The seal opened. Warmth spilled out again, stronger than before. Eli stopped in the doorway. I don't think I'm supposed to." Tala grabbed him by the forearm and pulled him in. Shira stepped behind and closed the door. Eli stood in the middle of the room, suddenly very aware of how small he was compared to them. The unit had 2 sleeping platforms on either side, layered with thick thermal blankets. A central rest pad sat between them, lower and wider, like it could be adjusted for different body shapes. He pointed at it. "That wasn't here last time," Shira answered as if it was obvious. "We moved it." Eli's eyes widened. "Why?" Tala crossed her arms again. "Because you are cold." "I can go to the med bay," Eli said quickly, "or the main bunk. I'll drink something hot. I'll be fine." Tala stepped closer until he had to tilt his head up to meet her eyes. "Shut up, cowboy." Eli froze, not from cold this time. "Excuse me." "You are freezing," Tala said, voice flat with certainty. "You are sleeping between us tonight." Eli stared. That's not, I mean." Shira tilted her head, studying him with calm curiosity. "You do not understand." "I understand the words," Eli said. "It's just I'm not sure you understand what you're suggesting." Tala's brow furrowed. "We suggest warmth," Shira added. "You lose heat fast. Humans are not built like us. Your suit did not protect you enough. Your body is still cold." Eli tried to regain control with humor. "So your solution is human sandwich?" Tala blinked once. "Yes." Eli let out a short laugh before he could stop it. It sounded strange in his own ears. "Okay, that's direct." Shira did not look offended. "Direct is best. We will share heat. You will recover. Tomorrow you will stop pretending." Eli raised a hand, then lowered it. He wanted to argue. He also wanted to lie down and sleep for a week. His fingers were still stiff. His arms felt heavy. His cheeks were warming, but the deep cold inside him was slow to leave. He swallowed. "This is not going to cause cultural problems?" Tala waved a hand, dismissing the idea like swatting a small insect. "Our culture values survival," Shira nodded. "We share warmth with those in our unit. It is normal." Eli's mind ran through human rules, human awkwardness, human fear of misunderstanding. Then he looked at their faces. They were not teasing him. They were not flirting. They were not playing a social game. They were simply doing what seemed right. In that moment, Eli realized something that made his chest tighten, and not from cold. They cared, not in a big dramatic way, not in a speech, in a simple, practical, stubborn way that felt strangely human. Eli exhaled slowly. "All right," he said. "But I'm keeping my base layer on." Tala stared. "Of course," Shira added gently. "We do not want your thin skin to be harmed by fabric." Eli stared again. "My thin, you know what, never mind." Tala reached to a shelf and grabbed a thermal drink pouch, then shoved it into his hands. "Drink." Eli took it, squeezed the seal, and sipped. It tasted like warm salt and something sweet. Not great, but the heat spread through his mouth and throat, and he felt himself relax a little. Shira moved behind him and touched the back of his neck lightly with her fingers. The contact was warm, steady, grounding. Eli flinched at first, surprised by how comforting it felt. Shira spoke softly. "Your muscles are tight." Eli tried to shrug, but it was a weak motion. "Occupational hazard." Tala sat on the edge of one platform, watching him like a guard watching a door. "You will remove outer suit." Eli glanced at his suit. "Here." "Yes," Tala said. He started unsealing the chest clamps with stiff fingers. Shira helped, quick and careful, like she had done this before. In a way, she had. She had watched humans struggle with tools and bodies for weeks now. As the suit layers opened and peeled away, Eli felt lighter and also more exposed. The room was warm, but the air still touched his skin in a way the suit never allowed. He shivered. Tala noticed instantly and stood. "Now!" She guided him to the central rest pad. Shira adjusted the blankets, folding them in a way that created a pocket of heat. Eli sat down, then slowly lay back. The pad was softer than he expected. It molded under him. Shira sat on one side and pulled a blanket over his chest. Tala sat on the other side, then leaned in, placing her arm around him with careful pressure. Eli's eyes widened. Stop making words, Tala said again, and this time her tone was not sharp. It was almost gentle in her own strict way. Shira lay down as well, her body close along Eli's other side, not pressing, but near enough that warmth radiated into him like a heater turning on. Eli felt his tension drain in a slow wave. The warmth was real, deep. It reached into places the shelter air could not reach. His shiver eased, his thoughts slowed. For a moment he just listened. He could hear the quiet hum of the thermal unit. He could hear the wind outside, far away now, like a story someone told in another room. He could hear the soft, steady breathing of Shira and the nearly silent stillness of Tala, whose people rested like statues. Eli turned his head slightly. "So," he whispered, failing at the no-words rule almost immediately. "You two do this often." "Drag weak humans into your bed?" Tala answered without opening her eyes. "Only stupid ones." Eli made a small sound that might have been laughter. "Fair." Shira's voice was close to his ear. "You are not weak, Eli Mercer." He blinked in the low light. "Could have fooled me." "You walked into the storm alone," Shira said. "You repaired the beacon, you returned, humans endure." Eli stared up at the softly glowing ceiling. He had heard aliens describe humans before. Most of it sounded like a report. Strong, adaptable, dangerous, strange. This sounded different. This sounded like respect. He swallowed again. "I just did my job." Tala shifted slightly closer. "Your job could have waited until a team was ready." Eli wanted to argue. He wanted to say that timing mattered, that the beacon had to be fixed before the storm cycle shifted, that he did not want to risk the outpost losing comms. He wanted to say he had made a decision based on experience and probability. But then he remembered how his legs had felt out there. Heavy. How his breath had gone shallow. How the cold had begun to steal his thoughts. He admitted something small because it was easier in the dark between two steady sources of warmth. "I didn't want to bother anyone," he said. Shira went still for a second. "You think helping you is a bother?" Eli gave a weak shrug. "Humans, we do that. We act like needing help is annoying." Tala's voice came low and curt. "That is foolish." Eli almost smiled. "Yeah." "I know." Shira's hand rested on his forearm, light but present. "On our world, a bonded unit survives because it shares. Heat, food, time, work. If one pretends to be fine, all may fail." Eli listened, eyelids growing heavy. The warmth was pulling him down like gravity. Tala spoke again. "Tomorrow you will tell us sooner." Eli yawned. "Yes, ma'am." Tala snorted softly. "Do not call me that." Eli's eyes closed halfway. "Okay, yes, scary ice lady." Shira made a quiet sound that was definitely a laugh this time. Tala huffed. "Sleep, cowboy." Eli let his eyes close fully. The last thing he felt was steady warmth and the strange, safe pressure of not being alone against a world that wanted him frozen. Outside, the ice moon wind continued its endless work, sculpting ridges and erasing footprints. The two suns sank lower, and the sky darkened into deeper black. Inside the thermal unit, a human finally stopped pretending. Morning on the ice moon did not arrive with sunlight the way it did on Earth. It arrived with sound. A low, distant hum rolled through the outpost as the wind shifted direction and pushed against the valley walls. The shelter's systems adjusted, vents opening and closing with soft mechanical clicks. Somewhere in the lab, a machine chimed as it finished analyzing another sample of frozen dust. Eli Mercer woke up to all of it at once. For a moment, he did not remember where he was. He felt warm, too warm. His back rested on something soft. His sides were pressed by something solid, steady, and alive. His face was half buried in a blanket that smelled faintly of minerals and clean fabric. Then memory rushed back. Ice moon, outpost, beacon, storm warnings. Two alien sisters who had decided, very firmly, that he was not allowed to freeze to death on their watch. Eli's eyes opened slowly. The room glowed with a low, blue-white light from the walls, like frozen moonlight. The thermal unit hummed gently beneath him. Tala lay on one side, her dark crystal skin catching the light in thin lines that pulsed slowly like a heartbeat made of stars. Her eyes were closed. Her posture was still, almost carved. On the other side, Shira lay facing him. Her eyes were open. She was watching him. Eli froze, not from cold, from being caught. Shira tilted her head slightly. "You are awake." Eli said. Was I snoring? Shira considered this seriously. You made small noises like a broken air valve. Eli groaned softly and rubbed his face. Great, that's my legacy. First human to sound like damaged equipment. Tala's eyes opened. She did not sit up. She did not move much at all. She just looked at him. You are warm, she said. Eli blinked. That's good. Yes, Tala said. That was the goal. Shira shifted slightly, sitting up and pulling the blanket back from Eli's chest. She placed 2 fingers against his wrist, light but firm. Eli raised an eyebrow. You checking my pulse? I am checking if you're still trying to leave your body behind in the cold, Shira replied. Eli smiled despite himself. Happy to report I am fully inside my body. Shira's glowing lines brightened a little. Good. Tala sat up slowly, like a mountain deciding to move. You slept. Yeah, Eli said. I noticed. You did not argue, Tala added. That's how you know it was serious, Eli said. Shira stood and moved to a small shelf on the wall. She pulled down 2 heat packs and a sealed food container. Sit, she told Eli. He obeyed, swinging his legs over the side of the rest pad. The floor felt cool under his feet, but not painfully so. Shira handed him a heat pack first. Hold! Eli wrapped his hands around it. Warmth soaked into his palms immediately. He sighed before he could stop himself. Tala watched him with open approval. You make better sounds when you are not freezing, Eli laughed. I'll put that on my resume. Shira opened the food container and handed him a simple bar made of compressed grains and nutrient gel. Eat. Eli took a bite. It tasted bland but filling. You two run a tight ship. Tala crossed her arms. Someone has to. The outpost comms chimed softly from the wall panel. Shira glanced at it. The research team is awake, Tala snorted. They never truly sleep, they only pretend. Eli swallowed another bite. So what's on the schedule today? Shira answered, Storm Watch. Eli's hand paused. Tala noticed. You will not go outside. Eli lifted his free hand. I wasn't planning to. I learned my lesson. Good, Tala said. Learning is rare. We should record it. Eli shook his head. Please don't put that in your cultural archives. Shira tapped the wall panel, bringing up a display of the moon's weather patterns. The screen showed flowing lines of energy moving across the surface like invisible rivers. The stellar storm is not finished, she said. It passed once, it may return. Eli leaned forward, interested despite himself. The beacon should hold. Yes, Shira said, because you fixed it, Tala added, which does not mean you will fix anything else today. Eli smiled. You two are very controlling. Tala's eyes narrowed slightly. We are very alive. Before Eli could reply, the door panel chimed. Shira turned. Enter. The seal opened and a Kesh researcher stepped in. The Kesh were tall and thin, with long arms and skin like pale stone. Their eyes were large and dark, and they wore layered fabric suits even inside the shelter. This one was named Varen. Varen stopped short when he saw Eli sitting between the sisters, holding a heat pack and eating their food. Varen's eyes widened slightly. I see the humans survived the night. Eli raised his hand in a small wave. Barely. It was a close fight with the blankets. Shira tilted her head. You need something, Varen? Yes, Varen said. The beacon's signal strength increased during the last cycle. We believe the storm altered the upper atmosphere. Tala looked at Eli. You hear that? Your work continues to be useful. Eli shrugged. Happy to help. Varen studied him for a moment. You humans continue to surprise. Good surprises, I hope, Eli said. Varen's mouth curved in a way that might have been a smile. Mostly. Varen turned to leave, then paused. The council channel is open. They wish to hear a report about last night. Tala nodded. We will attend. After Varen left, Eli leaned back slightly. Council. Shira nodded. Our species leadership monitors joint missions. They like stories. Tala added. They like success. Eli groaned softly. I am not good at speeches. You will not speak, Tala said. We will. Eli felt a strange mix of relief and curiosity. They moved to the main comms room, a wide space with a circular platform in the center. A large holographic display rose from the floor, showing the symbol of the Apache Sisters people, a shape like a cracked star. As they stepped onto the platform, Eli stood slightly behind them, feeling like a very small guest in a very big moment. The hologram flickered, and several figures appeared, leaders, elders, observers. Their forms were similar to Tala and Shira, but older, their glowing lines dimmer and slower. One of them spoke. Report. Tala stepped forward. The outpost endured a stellar storm, the beacon held. And the human? Another voice asked. Shira answered. The human repaired the beacon alone before the storm. There was a pause. Alone, the first voice repeated. Yes, Tala said, in dangerous cold. The figures shifted slightly, a sign of interest. Eli felt heat rise in his face. He did not like being talked about like he was not there. Shira continued. He did not request assistance. Why? One of the elders asked. Tala glanced back at Eli for a brief second, then returned her gaze to the hologram. He said he did not want to bother anyone. The room was quiet, then a soft murmur passed through the council. Eli rubbed the back of his neck. I didn't mean it like that, he muttered. The elder spoke again. Humans are strange. Eli couldn't argue with that. The council asked more questions. How strong was the storm? How stable was the beacon now? What risks remained? Tala and Shira answered with clear, steady voices. Eli watched them, realizing something else. They were not just warriors or guardians. They were leaders. They carried themselves with a quiet weight, like people used to making choices that mattered. When the session ended, the hologram faded. Tala let out a slow breath. They will record this. Eli blinked. Record what? Shira looked at him. Your actions. Eli frowned. I didn't do anything special. Tala turned to face him fully. You did something dangerous so others would be safe. Eli shrugged. That's kind of the job. Shira shook her head gently. Not everyone does their job like that. They walked back through the shelter halls. The outpost felt more alive now. Researchers moved between stations. Machines hummed. Someone laughed near the food station. Eli felt like he was seeing it all differently. Outside the thick walls, the ice moon waited, cold and endless. Inside, a small pocket of life pushed back against it with light and warmth and stubborn effort. They stopped near the main viewing window, a wide panel that looked out over the valley. The sky had changed. Thin waves of color rippled across the blackness like a silent storm painted in light. Eli stared. That's beautiful. Shira stood beside him. That is the storm's echo. Tala added. It is a warning. It means the energy is still near. Eli leaned his forehead lightly against the cool glass. Space really doesn't like to let things rest, does it? Shira considered this. Neither do humans. Eli chuckled. Fair. A younger Kesh technician approached, holding a data tablet. There is a power fluctuation near the beacon relay. Tala stiffened. How serious? Small, the technician said, but growing. Eli straightened. Tala looked at him. No, I haven't even said anything yet, Eli protested. You are thinking, Tala said. That is enough. Eli raised both hands. Okay, I will stay here, I promise. Shira studied his face. You will be restless, Eli sighed. Probably. Tala pointed toward the lab. Then you will help there where it is warm. Eli smiled. That I can do. In the lab, Eli helped sort equipment, calibrate small sensors, and explain human tools to curious Kesh researchers. It felt good to be useful without fighting the cold. Still, his eyes kept drifting to the window, to the distant point where the beacon stood. Shira noticed. You trust your work? Eli nodded. Yeah, I do. Then trust us to watch it, she said. Eli took a slow breath and let it out. I'm not used to that. Being watched? Shira asked. Being backed up, Eli said. Tala, who had been listening from the doorway, spoke. You are not alone on this moon. Eli looked at them both. It was a simple statement, not a promise, not a dramatic vow, just a fact. Hours passed. The power fluctuation stabilized. The storm's echo faded slowly from the sky. When the workday ended, the outpost lights dimmed to a softer glow. Eli found himself back in the thermal unit again, sitting on the edge of the rest pad, sipping another warm drink. Tala leaned against the wall. You did not run outside today. Eli smiled. I'm very proud of myself. Shira sat beside him. We are too. Eli looked at her. You don't have to babysit me forever. Tala replied. We will stop when you stop pretending you are made of stone. Eli laughed quietly. He stared at the floor for a moment, then spoke. Back on Earth, we say humans are tough, that we can handle anything. Shira listened. But out here, Eli continued, I'm starting to think we're not tough because we can handle anything. We're tough because we keep going, even when we shouldn't be alone. Tala considered this. That sounds like a lesson. Eli shrugged. Maybe. Shira's glowing lines pulsed softly. Then we will remember it. Eli leaned back, feeling the warmth of the room, the quiet hum of the systems, and the strange comfort of being somewhere far from home but not feeling lost. Outside, the beacon stood in the frozen valley, its green light steady against the dark. Inside, a human learned that endurance did not always mean standing alone in the cold. The warning came as a soft chime, not a scream. A gentle sound rippled through the outpost's halls, like a bell made of glass being touched with careful fingers. Lights shifted from their calm blue-white glow to a pale yellow. Screens along the walls changed, showing flowing lines of energy and rising numbers. Eli Mercer looked up from the small tool he was fixing in the lab. Shira was already on her feet. Tala stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes locked on the nearest display. "Storm movement," Shira said. "It is changing." Eli set the tool down slowly. "Changing how?" "Closer," Tala replied. "Stronger." The Kesh researchers in the room moved with quiet speed, securing samples, locking cabinets, and checking power lines. No one panicked. This was why they were here, to study things that were not safe. Eli stepped closer to the main screen. The storm's energy pattern had shifted. The smooth waves from earlier were now tight, fast-moving spirals. "That's not good," he said. Shira nodded. "The echo became a pulse." Tala turned toward him. "The beacon," Eli swallowed. "If that pulse hits the relay field, it could overload the stabilizers." "And if it fails?" Shira asked. Eli did not answer right away. Tala's eyes narrowed. "Human." "If it fails," Eli said, "we lose comms, navigation lock, and maybe part of the power grid. Worst case, the storm surge hits the outpost shield line." The room grew very quiet. A Kesh researcher spoke. "Can we reinforce it remotely?" Eli shook his head. "The relay is old tech, physical adjustments only." Tala turned fully toward him. "No." "I haven't said anything yet," Eli said quickly. "You are thinking again," Tala replied. Eli rubbed his face. "Yeah, I am." Shira stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "You promised." "I promised I wouldn't run out into the cold for no reason," Eli said. "This is a reason." Tala's jaw tightened. "This is a storm." Eli met her eyes. "This is our home for now." The comms panel chimed again. Varen's voice came through. "The council is watching the storm. They advise caution." Tala muttered. "They always advise caution." Shira turned to Eli. "If you go, we go." Eli blinked. "What?" "We are bonded to this unit," Shira said. "And to you." Tala added, "We will not let you walk into danger alone." Eli hesitated. The idea of them coming out into the storm did not sit right in his chest. "You don't have to." "Yes," Tala said, "we do." The outpost commander, a Kesh elder named Solin, entered the room. "I will not order anyone to go," Solin said, "but the beacon is critical." Eli took a breath. It felt heavy but steady. "I'll go," he said, "and I won't go alone." Tala nodded once. "Good." Shira moved to the equipment rack. "We prepare." They suited up quickly. Eli's hands moved with practiced speed, sealing layers, checking heat lines, locking boots. Tala and Shira fitted external harnesses over their natural armor-like skin, attaching energy packs and anchor lines. At the airlock, the three of them stood together. The door beyond showed only darkness and faint moving light from the storm's distant edge. Eli looked at them. "If this gets bad, we turn back." Tala tilted her head. "You will try." Shira placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. "We will decide together." The airlock hissed. Cold rushed in like a living thing. They stepped out. The wind hit them almost immediately, stronger than before. It was not a steady push. It came in waves, like invisible hands shoving and pulling. The ground vibrated faintly under their boots. The beacon stood far ahead, its green light blinking through thin curtains of drifting ice dust. Eli checked his suit. "Storm front is moving fast." Shira's voice came through comms, clear and calm. "Anchor lines ready." Tala fired a line into the ice ridge beside them. It locked in with a solid thump. They moved forward, slow and careful, attaching lines as they went, creating a path back to the outpost. The sky above them rippled with color now, bright streaks of blue and violet like silent lightning frozen in motion. Eli felt small under it. Halfway to the beacon, the ground shuddered. Eli stumbled, catching himself on the line. "Status?" Shira asked. "Still here," Eli said. "Just got reminded this moon is not stable." Tala looked around. "The ice field is shifting." The beacon's green light flickered once. Eli's heart jumped. "It's starting." They reached the beacon platform. The metal frame hummed with energy. The air around it felt thick, like static before a storm back on Earth. Eli knelt by the main panel, opening it with gloved hands. Inside, the stabilizer coils glowed a dull orange. "Overheating," he said. "I need to vent the excess and realign the flow." Shira moved to the opposite side, steadying the frame against the wind. Tala stood behind Eli, anchoring both of them with her line. The storm pulse hit. The sky flashed bright, and a wave of energy rolled across the ice field. It did not knock them down, but it pressed against them like a heavy wall. Eli gritted his teeth. Okay, that's new. The stabilizer coils flared brighter. Eli worked fast, adjusting valves, rerouting lines, hands moving by memory more than sight. Another pulse rippled through the ground. The beacon's light went from green to yellow. Come on, Eli muttered. Don't do this. Shira's voice stayed steady. Take your time. I don't think the storm got that message, Eli replied. A sudden gust slammed into them from the side. Tala's line went tight. Shira leaned into the frame. Eli lost his balance for a second, then felt a strong hand on the back of his suit, holding him in place. Tala's voice was low. I have you. Eli took a breath. It came out shaky. Good, because I like being had. He twisted a final control and slammed the panel shut. The beacon's light flickered, then turned green again. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the next storm pulse hit. This one was stronger. The air crackled. The ice field glowed faintly under their feet. Eli felt the heat surge through the beacon's frame. The stabilizers held. The pulse passed. Silence followed, broken only by the wind and the steady hum of the beacon. Eli slumped against the frame. I think we did it. Shira checked her readings. The energy flow is stable. Tala looked up at the sky. The storm is moving away. Eli laughed, breathless. I am officially done with this moon for today. They did not rush back. They moved carefully, step by step, following their own anchor lines. The outpost grew larger in the distance, its lights warm and welcoming. Inside the airlock, the door sealed and the cold stayed out. Eli leaned against the wall, helmet still on, chest rising and falling fast. Tala reached up and tapped his helmet. You are breathing too hard. Yeah, Eli said. That's my victory sound. Shira removed her harness and set it aside. You did not go alone. Eli pulled off his helmet, wiping his face. No, I didn't. They walked back into the shelter. The Kesh crew looked up as they entered. There was a quiet ripple of relief through the room. Varen approached. The beacon signal is strong. Eli gave a tired thumbs up. Still blinking, Tala nodded. As it should. Later in the thermal unit, Eli sat on the rest pad, wrapped in a blanket, holding another heat pack. His hands still shook a little. Shira sat across from him. Your body is slow to calm. Eli smiled weakly. My brain's still out there. Tala leaned against the wall, watching him. You could have waited. Eli nodded. Yeah, Shira asked. Why did you not? Eli stared at the floor for a moment. Because if something goes wrong out there, it doesn't just break a machine. It breaks people, it breaks missions, it sends everyone home. Tala considered this. And you do not want to be sent home. Eli looked up. I like it here. Shira's glowing lines brightened softly. The comms chimed again. The council's symbol appeared on the wall screen. This time the elder spoke with a different tone. The beacon held, the outpost stands. Tala inclined her head. Yes, the elder's gaze shifted to Eli. Human, you did not walk alone this time. Eli swallowed. No, I didn't, the elder nodded. That is also strength. The hologram faded. Eli let out a long breath. Tala crossed her arms. You still think needing help is a bother? Eli thought about the wind, the storm, the strong hand on his back, the steady voice in his ear. No, he said. I think it's a lifeline. Shira smiled in the way her people did, with light instead of lips. The beacon continued to blink in the frozen valley, a small green heartbeat against the dark. The outpost did not celebrate. It did not throw lights into the sky or play loud sounds or mark the storm's passing with any big moment. It simply kept working. That Eli Mercer learned was how survival often looked in space. Quiet, steady, almost boring, but inside the people something had changed. He felt it in the way the Kesh researchers nodded at him when he passed, in the way Varen paused to ask if he had slept well, in the way Tala and Shira walked a little closer to him than before, not guarding him, but moving with him like part of the same shape. The beacon stood strong in the valley. The storm's energy had faded into soft lines of color in the sky, like a memory that refused to fully leave. Eli stood at the main viewing window, hands in his pockets, watching the green light blink far away. You keep looking at it, Shira said behind him. Eli smiled without turning. Hard not to, it feels like it's looking back. Tala joined them, crossing her arms. It is a machine. Yeah, Eli said, but it's our machine. Shira tilted her head. You bond with strange things. Eli shrugged. You should see what we do with cars back on Earth. That earned him a soft, confused look from both sisters. The comms chimed again. This time it was not the council. It was a ship. A small transport vessel had entered the edge of the moon system. Its signal was weak, bouncing through the last traces of storm energy. Varen hurried into the room. "We have incoming visitors," Tala straightened. "Who?" "Human," Varen said, "and Kesh." Eli's eyebrows lifted. "Supply run," Varen nodded, "and rotation crew." Eli felt a small, unexpected twist in his chest. Rotation meant people left. New people came, missions changed, units shifted. Shira noticed his expression. "You are concerned." "I guess I just got used to things being like this," Eli said. Tala studied him. "Change is part of survival." "Yeah," Eli said, "doesn't mean I have to like it." The transport landed hours later, its engines sending soft tremors through the ice field. The outpost gathered near the airlock. When the doors opened, cold air rushed in, followed by new faces. A human woman stepped through first, tall and broad-shouldered, with short dark hair and a bright orange jacket. She looked around, grinning. "Well, this place is cheerful," she said. Eli laughed. "You get used to it." Her eyes locked on him. "Mercer. You're the one who fixed the beacon?" Eli blinked. Yeah," she stuck out a hand. "Captain Ray's good work out there." Eli shook her hand. "Thanks." Behind her, more Kesh crew entered, carrying crates and equipment. The outpost buzzed with movement as supplies were unloaded and reports exchanged. Eli helped where he could, lifting boxes, guiding people to storage, explaining which hallway led where. Captain Ray's walked beside him. "You've got a reputation already." Eli groaned. "Please tell me it's not dramatic," she smiled. "Too late, they're calling you the human who stood in the storm." Eli rubbed his face. "That sounds like something you put on a poster." Shira and Tala watched the exchange from across the room. Shira leaned toward Tala. "He attracts attention," Tala replied. "He attracts trouble." Eli finished stacking a crate and turned to the sisters. "So, you two ready to meet my people?" Tala looked at Captain Ray's. "We have met humans." Ray's stepped closer, curiosity clear in her eyes. "I've never met anyone like you." Shira inclined her head. "We could say the same." Ray's laughed. "Fair." That night, the outpost shared a meal. It was simple food, warmed and flavored to suit both species. People sat together in small groups, talking about storms, missions, and home worlds. Eli sat between Shira and Captain Ray's, while Tala sat across from them, watching everything like a quiet guard. Ray's leaned in. "So, what's it like working with them?" Eli thought for a moment. "Warm," Shira blinked. "This is a cold moon," Eli smiled. "Exactly." Tala huffed softly. After the meal, the outpost grew quieter. Some crew rested. Others prepared reports for the council. Eli found himself back at the viewing window again. Tala joined him. "You will leave someday," she said. Eli nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's kind of how this job works." Shira came to stand on his other side. "Does that trouble you?" Eli stared at the beacon's distant light. "A little." Tala considered this. "On our world, bonded units sometimes separate. They go to different clans, different duties. They do not stop being bonded. They just carry it with them." Eli looked at her. "You're saying I get to take you with me?" Shira's lines glowed brighter. "In memory." Eli smiled, but his eyes felt heavy. The next day, Captain Ray's gathered the human crew. "We're rotating assignments," she said. "Some of you are heading back to the main station." Eli's name was on the list. He felt it hit him like a quiet wave. Later, he found Tala and Shira in the thermal unit. "They're sending me out," he said. Shira nodded. "We heard." Tala crossed her arms. "We do not like it." Eli laughed softly. "Me neither." They sat in silence for a while, then Tala stood. "Come." They walked through the outpost, past the labs, past the storage rooms, and out to the airlock. Outside, the wind was calm for once. The sky held only faint traces of color. They walked to a small ridge overlooking the valley. The beacon blinked below them. Tala stopped and reached into a pouch on her belt. She pulled out a small crystal band, dark and smooth, with thin glowing lines inside. She held it out to Eli. Eli stared. "What is that?" Shira spoke softly. "A bond marker. Our people use them to remember shared survival." Eli took it carefully. It felt warm in his hands. Tala said, "You stood with us. You did not break. You learned." Eli swallowed. "I'm not exactly sure what I learned." Shira smiled. "You will." Eli slipped the band around his wrist. It fit perfectly, like it had been made for him. Back inside, the outpost prepared for departure. Captain Ray's met Eli near the airlock. "Ready to go, Cowboy?" Eli blinked. "How did you know that name?" Tala's voice came from behind him. "We told her." Ray's laughed. "I like it." Eli turned to the sisters. "Guess this is it," he said. Shira placed her hand over the crystal band on his wrist. "This is not an end," Tala nodded. "It is a turn." Eli took a deep breath. You too changed how I see things. Shira replied, you changed how we see humans. They stood there for a moment just looking at each other. Then the ship's boarding signal chimed. Eli stepped back, then stopped. He turned and did something very human. He hugged them. Tala froze. Shira blinked. Then slowly they both returned the gesture, careful and awkward and real. Eli pulled away, laughing softly. You're going to confuse your council with that one, Tala replied. Let them be confused. Eli walked into the airlock. The doors closed. Through the small window, he saw them standing together, dark and glowing against the light of the outpost. As the ship lifted off, Eli looked down at the frozen valley one last time. The beacon blinked. The outpost glowed. And somewhere in his chest, something warm stayed behind. Across the stars, a story began to spread. Not about a storm, not about a beacon, but about a human who learned that strength did not come from standing alone in the cold. The transport ship moved away from the ice moon like a slow, careful bird, its engines glowing soft blue against the dark of space. Eli Mercer stood at the small viewing window, his hands resting on the glass. The moon grew smaller behind him. The frozen valley became a pale line. The beacon's green blink turned into a tiny dot, then vanished. Captain Reyes watched him from across the cabin. You look like you left something behind, she said. Eli smiled, but it was quiet. Yeah, I think I did. The ship was calm inside. Soft lights lined the walls. The low hum of the engines felt like a steady heartbeat. Reyes leaned against a seat. You know, people back at the main station are already talking about you. Eli groaned. Please tell me it's not dramatic. Reyes grinned. Too late, they're calling you Storm Cowboy. Eli covered his face with one hand. That is absolutely dramatic, Reyes laughed. Welcome to space, everything becomes a story. Eli looked down at the crystal band on his wrist. The thin lines inside it glowed softly, almost like they were breathing. Some stories matter, he said. The ship jumped into a faster travel lane. The stars stretched into long lines, then settled again into quiet points of light. Hours later, they arrived at the main station. It was huge. A ring of metal and light floated in space, covered in windows, docks, and glowing paths. Ships moved in and out like insects around a bright flower. Eli felt small again. The transport docked and the doors opened. Warm, recycled air washed over them. The station was loud compared to the outpost. People talked. Machines beeped. Footsteps echoed on metal floors. Reyes clapped Eli on the shoulder. Home sweet hub. Eli stepped inside. At first he thought things would feel normal again, but they didn't. People stopped him in the halls, asked about the storm, about the beacon, about the ice moon and the alien sisters. Some thanked him. Some laughed with him. Some just looked at the crystal band and asked what it meant. Eli told the story again and again, but it never sounded the same out loud as it did in his head. After a long day of reports and check-ins, Eli found a quiet corner near one of the station's big windows. Outside, ships drifted by. Distant stars burned in silence. He touched the band on his wrist. He missed the wind. He missed the quiet. He missed two tall figures made of crystal and light who did not let him pretend he was stronger than he really was. Far away on the ice moon, Tala and Shira stood at the same viewing window Eli had loved. The outpost felt different without him. Not empty, but changed. The beacon still blinked in the valley. The storm energy had faded completely now. The sky was calm and dark. Shira watched the green light. He would like this calm. Tala crossed her arms. He would say it is suspicious. Shira's lines glowed softly. He would be right. The council channel chimed. The cracked star symbol appeared in the air. An elder spoke. Reports of the human have spread. Other outposts request human scouts. Tala's posture stiffened. Because of him? Yes, the elder said. They believe humans endure where others hesitate. Shira tilted her head. They endure because they do not want others to be alone. The elder paused. That is not how we understood it, Tala said. It is how he showed it. The council ended the call. Shira looked at Tala. Do you think he knows he changed things? Tala considered. Humans rarely do. Days passed, then weeks. Eli worked on the station, helping new crews, fixing old systems, training younger scouts. The crystal band became a part of him. People started recognizing it. What's that? They would ask, and Eli would say, a reminder not to freeze alone. One day a message came through his personal terminal. It was from the Ice Moon outpost. Short, simple, beacon stable. Storm season ended, sisters watching the valley. Eli smiled so wide his face hurt. He sent a message back, still standing, still warm, still cowboy. The reply came faster than he expected. Do not forget, you are not made of stone. Eli laughed out loud in the middle of the busy station. People stared. He didn't care. Months later, Eli was assigned to a new mission. Another distant moon, another strange system, another outpost that needed help. Before he left, Captain Reyes pulled him aside. You keep picking the cold places. Eli shrugged. Someone has to. She studied the band on his wrist. You bringing that with you? Eli held it up. Always. The new ship lifted off. Stars stretched. Space opened wide again. When Eli arrived at the new outpost, the crew was nervous. The moon was unstable. The power systems were old. The weather patterns were unpredictable. Eli listened. He nodded. Then he said something that surprised even himself. We'll handle it together. The crew looked at him. He smiled. Far away on the ice moon, Tala and Shira felt a strange, quiet moment of pride, even though they did not know why. The story of the cowboy spread across human and alien space, not as a legend of strength, but as a lesson. Humans did not stand alone in the cold because they were fearless. They stood there because they believed someone else mattered more than their own comfort. And when they learned they did not have to stand alone at all, they became something even stronger. One cycle, the Ice Moon Outpost received a group of new recruits. Young, curious, unsure. Tala and Shira gathered them near the viewing window. They pointed to the distant valley. They told them about the storm, about the beacon, about a human who walked into the cold and learned to stop pretending. The recruits listened closely. One asked, "Where is he now?" Shira answered, "Among the stars," Tala added, "standing with others." Across the galaxy, Eli Mercer stood on another frozen ridge, wind pulling at his suit, stars shining above him. A young crew member beside him shivered. Eli noticed. He turned and placed a hand on their shoulder. "Hey," he said, "you don't have to pretend you're fine." The crew member blinked. "I'm kind of cold." Eli smiled. "Good," he said. "Let's fix that together." Above them, the sky glowed with soft light. Behind them, the outpost waited.